When my sister and I were about 5 and 6, we lived in a small town community, about 600 people, and we would frequently play outside, without parental supervision. Our neighbor would, unbeknownst to our mother, take us to the local ice cream shop for ice cream. One day we moved without explanation. Years later, it was told to us that neighbor was a registered sex offender and pedophile, and Mom moved for our safety. She freaked out when she learned about our trips to the ice cream shop. To my knowledge, neither me or my sister were ever assaulted, but it is still very scary to think about. I get flashbacks now. Had a BFF when I was 10. She lived with her dad, stepmother and 2 stepsisters. I was there over all the time. Had sleepovers now and then. One day, we were playing downstairs. The stepmother was gone to work at the time when one of the stepsisters was called by the dad to go upstairs by herself. After maybe 15 minutes, I also wanted to go upstairs, because that's where the kids' bedroom was with toys. My friend panicked a little, told me to stay downstairs, and I joked around a little on why she was so persistent. Well, not long after, we all go upstairs to play, and the stepsister is crying down the hallway. I asked her, all concerned like, what's going on? You can tell me, I told her, because she wasn't saying a thing to anyone other than just cry. And my friend and other stepsister again tried to lure me away and say to leave her alone. You could just feel their panic mode was on. I got home and told my mom this. She thought it was odd, but I only told her about the sister crying, not about not being allowed upstairs. Not long after they moved to another city. Years later, the stepmother divorced her husband and called my mother to explain her that her ex-husband had been molesting her daughters for years, including my friend. I was so damn close to something happening. It happened just right above my head. Honestly, it made me paranoid about ever letting my kids have a sleepover. I learned the hard way that these things are happening in front of our noses. These neighbors moved in across the street from me when I was in middle school. They were very odd people that kept to themselves. It was obvious they had 2 small children that were adopted. One day not that long after they moved in, the lady came over and apologized to my parents that her kids were always screaming and crying. I remember it being really strange, because neither my parents or myself ever really heard the kids screaming or crying. Some weeks go by, my father comes home from work and gets out the car as he hears the lady screaming in her backyard. He goes over and she's screaming that she found the younger of her 2 children unresponsive in the backyard. Police arrive and unfortunately the kid is dead. Then things get real. Tons of cops, unmarked vehicles, police lines. Turns out she beat the kid to death and tried to stage it, like the kid fell and hit his head on the back patio. Then we find out much more. Our new neighbors moved out of their last house because they weren't welcome in the area, because numerous previous neighbors reported them to Child Protective Services for abuse. Now this is in the 1980s, before internets and all that, so you could hide your skeletons much easier back then. They only lived across from us a few months before this went down. A high school kid who used to live next door to us was a drug dealer. Our house is on a corner, and he told buyers to park in front of our house on the side street so his dad couldn't see them. There was so much traffic, It was like a drive-through, and we live in a relatively quiet neighborhood. Strange and creepy people would often walk into our backyard or driveway thinking that the kid lived at our house or trying to figure out a way to get over our fence into his yard. Very scary times. Hope you enjoyed the video and subscribe to TuneIn for the latest videos that come out daily.